All right, guys, so you may have already heard.
There's a new lawsuit tonight in that bombshell Hollywood scandal. Justin Baldoni, director and co-star of the hit movie It Ends With Us, is being sued for defamation and breach of contract. It comes just days after his co-star Blake Lively accused him of sexual harassment and a smear campaign. Baldoni denying the allegations.
So we're going to take a peek at that lawsuit today. Recently, Blake's reputation had taken a major hit, with many people questioning her character. She was once beloved, seen as a wholesome figure by fans, but now, after some revealing interviews and some information has come to light, there seems to be a bigger question. Is Blake really the problem here, or is all of this a part of a carefully planned attack against her? Stick around because we're gonna unpack all of this and more. Before we dive into the court docs, we can't forget that this entire movie has been surrounded by negative press. Pretty much since we've heard that the film was coming out, it's been pretty negative. It feels like the media just has something against it from the start. And it's not just from Blake's side. There has been some pretty harsh things said about Justin too that we've seen come out in the press. And I'm sure many of you guys have seen this infamous interview from 2016 with the interviewer who goes by the name of Kirsty Flaw. Yeah, I had to look up the pronunciation of her name, but I think that's how you pronounce it. So let's actually take a look here.
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
You've got two nice ones.
And they are kind of bumps, aren't they?
No, not bumps. The lovely lady lumps. Check it out.
Thank you.
Are
You like the movie? Are you a Woody Allen fan?
I love most of his movies, and this one was so visually amazing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Did you guys love wearing those kind of clothes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And working in digital.
Everyone wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
I would.
I love Jesse's
He has some
suits and
beautiful.
how
That's what I'm saying. His wardrobe was beautiful.
I know.
Corey's
Everybody.
wordrobe was
I know.
gorgeous.
He's
Those
so great.
high-waisted pants.
He's so great.
I would wish men
And
wore
sorry,
high-waisted
too.
pants
I
like
know.
that still.
Me
Or
too.
the father with his tank top in
Oh,
bed.
it's so
Just
good.
like it's just like
Did you
that.
catch
You could
the,
feel
the
it.
tablecloth on the light in the Italian restaurant when they eat spaghetti?
I didn't
and
notice that. No.
that- There's
Yeah,
so
I feel
much
like-
warmth of everything,
Yeah, it's not just the women that have the clothes.
But
I feel like the women
Victoria-
get the conversation, but it's like
Yeah.
every detail with everybody.
Yeah,
It's so,
it was
so
amazing
beautiful.
to look at.
Sleeves,
And then to see
white
it,
suits.
yes.
And then you notice in LA, like everybody's in cream colors, and all the men are wearing like white and cream. And then you get to New York, and it's a little bit more browns and moodier. And Susie really told such a story.
Yeah, amazing.
Alongside Vittorio, because it is a lot brighter and sunnier in LA, and New York has just this.
After watching that, I think we can all agree that there's definitely some passive-aggressive tension between Blake and Parker Posey toward the interviewer. The interviewer asks her a nice question that you might ask someone who's pregnant. The interviewer congratulates Blake on her pregnancy, saying, "Congratulations on your little bump." And Blake sarcastically fires back, "Congratulations on your little bump." Even though Blake is the one that's pregnant, not the interviewer. And at first, you could kind of take this as a lighthearted joke, but then once you start watching the rest of the interview, it starts to feel a little off, and it kind of sets a negative tone for the rest of the interview. And in my opinion, things just seem to get more and more awkward from there. So then the interviewer goes on to ask the ladies if they enjoyed wearing the clothes that they wore on the film that they were filming. I don't know what film that was, but Parker chimes in with a comment that definitely raised some eyebrows. She says, "I wonder if you asked the men about their clothes." And in my opinion, it felt like a subtle jab, suggesting that she thought the question was only being asked to them solely because they were women. But in my opinion, it's not crazy to ask an actor about the costumes that they wore while filming a movie. I mean, costume design is basically like a category in movie awards. So it's not an outlandish question to mention costume designs. I don't know, it feels like Parker and Blake were just finding a reason to be offended. I'm not sure at all why that question made them offended. Costume designers, they work really hard in their craft just like actors do. Do you guys think this question should have not been asked, or is it just an overreaction from Parker and Blake? Let me know in the comments. Honestly, after watching this interview, Blake and Parker come off a bit like mean girls in my opinion. If you pay close attention, you'll notice that the eye contact between them is only with one another, not the interviewer. Their bodies are also angled toward each other, but not the interviewer at all. They're not even facing her, and they hardly even acknowledge her. It gives off of a vibe like they're in their own world, and it's almost just dismissive, as if, Flaw isn't asking questions or there to interview them. And I know I can't be the only one who feels a touch of passive-aggressive energy here, right? It definitely gives off mean girl vibes. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree, or do you think I'm reading too much into this? I'd like to hear your comments below. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this one. And so I took a look at some fan comments, and the comments weren't the most flattering to say, but fans definitely had a lot to say about that interview and Blake and Parker's reaction toward it. One comment reads, "They literally pretended the interviewer doesn't exist. This is just 101 high school bullying tactic." Another comment reads, "They're both so committed to shutting her out of the conversation for the sake of being mean, then just ended up rambling about nothing. What fools." Another comment says, the interviewer wasn't pregnant. Her saying congratulations back was a slap in the face when she was only congratulating her pregnancy. Gross. Blake could have just said thank you and the conversation would have moved on. I'm pretty sure it would have gone in a more positive direction had they just been able to move forward from, the interviewer complimenting or the interviewer congratulating her. Another comment says, "I'm more offended that they're basically ignoring the interviewer and practically having a side conversation with just the two of them." And I do want to say, Blake and Parker, they could have taken this conversation into a completely different direction. I thought, it seems like their personalities, they have a personality that could come across as fun. Like with Parker, with them talking about the bumps and the lovely lady lump thing. I thought that kind of could have been funny had the rest of the interview and not gone so poorly. But yeah, what do you guys think about that? All right, so now we're going to move on to something a little more serious. Back in August, People magazine had reported that during the press tour of It Ends With Us, Justin and Blake were kept separate and they didn't pose together at any events. So let's take a look at this article here. Speculation about the behind-the-scenes drama among the cast of the romantic drama swirled online as it overperformed at the box office over the weekend. Blake Lively and co-star / director Baldoni have been kept separate throughout the film's press tour, and they didn't post together at the premiere. Fueling the rumors of the rift is the fact that Lively, author Colleen Hoover, and co-star Jenny Slate do not follow him back on Instagram. So seeing that made me question, is this actually true? And so if you watch the interviews during the press tour, you'll notice that they were almost never seen together. Most of the interviews that Justin and Blake had done were not with each other at all. And honestly, it's like when actors go on a press tour for a movie, it's pretty standard that the two main characters appear together or do joint interviews. They pose together on the red carpet. But with Blake and Justin, that just was not the case here.
Tell me what it was like also collaborating with Blake.
Oh, she's a creative force. She's a genius. She was involved in every aspect of this production, and everything she touched, she made better.
So when asked, how's it like working with Blake, Justin has nothing negative to say. He even compliments Blake, and then he goes on to talk about Colleen Hoover, which is the author of It Ends With Us, and he goes on to basically say that they had a positive experience working with one another, and how Colleen, the author, trusted him with the rights of the book to do what he pleased with it. And so you might ask, what's going on? Why is there a lawsuit if Justin says that everything went well? Well, according to Blake herself, through her 60-plus page lawsuit, we finally get a look inside to see that she wanted nothing to do with Justin on the set or during the press tour. In the court document, Blake outlines a series of incidents involving Justin that she claims were inappropriate and that she wanted to cease immediately. So this means that some of these things may have taken place in the past, and Blake wanted those things to stop. So the court doc says, during the January meeting, the parties discussed in detail the inappropriate conduct. As discussed below, Ms. Lively was forced to address concerns about Mr. Baldini's conduct that Ms. Lively, her employees, and other cast and crew experienced at the hand of Baldini and Mr. Heath. After the list below was reviewed and discussed in its entirety, all parties present agreed that the outlined conduct would cease. Blake has a list of 30 things that she wanted Justin to stop doing. And so I'm going to read a couple of those from the list that I thought stood out or were, kind of interesting. Number 1 says no more showing nude videos or images of women, including producer's wife, to Blake Lively and or her employees. I wonder how Justin's wife probably feels about that if these allegations are true. Number 2 says no more mention of Mr. Baldini or Mr. Heath's previous pornography addiction or Blake's lack of pornography assumption to Blake or other crew members. Number 3 reads, no more discussions to Blake Lively and or her employees about personal experiences with sex, including as it relates to spouses or others. Number 4 reads, no mention to Blake or her employees of personal times that physical consent was not given in sexual acts as either the abuser or the abused. Yeah, so this is a weird one. These are all weird, but this is like super weird. So basically, the lawsuit claims that Justin is mentioning times where he abused whoever he, was his sexual partner. He was the abuser or he was the one who was abused. That's kind of weird to do to someone that's your coworker. It's kind of not a line that most people would cross, It's kind of weird. Number 5 says no more descriptions of their own genitalia to Blake Lively. Number 7 says no more inquiries by Blake or no more inquiries by Mr. Baldini to Blake Lively's trainer without her knowledge or consent to disclose her weight. So I guess Justin wants to know how much Blake weighs for some reason. Not weird at all. Number 13 reads, no more improvising of kissing. All intimate touch must be choreographed in advance with Blake and an intimacy coordinator. No biting or sucking of lip without Blake's consent. All intimate on-camera touch and conversations must be in character, not spoken from Mr. Baldini to Blake personally. So it sounds like Justin may have been crossing the line and maybe using his character as a way to, be intimate with Blake, if that makes sense. Number 15 says all actors participating with Blake Lively in intimate scenes involving her being in any state of nudity or simulated nudity must be classified as active working actors, not friends of the director or producers. It must be pre-approved by Blake. So that one's also a very weird one. So does this mean that Justin was hiring his friends to work on set when Blake was going to be nude for the film? Is that what that sounds like? Number 21 says no more private multi-hour meetings in Blake's trailer with Mr. Baldini crying with no outside Blake appointed representative to monitor. So yeah, why is he going to Blake's trailer to go cry? Why is that happening? This is supposed to be a professional set. This is work. And why is this happening? Also, it mentions multi-hour meetings. So he was just going into Blake's trailer to cry for like hours on end. Yeah, so some of these claims are kind of crazy. Blake is basically claiming that these things did happen. That's why she's saying no more of this, because you can't just be like, no more doing XYZ if it's never been done before. So Blake is obviously saying that some of these things have been done on the set of filming this movie. So what do you guys think of this list? I think it's just really just bizarre that you have to say some of these things, like no more coming into the trailer crying. Why would you have to say that? Why would you have to say that? to someone that you're working with. It's just very appalling. What do you guys think? Let me know. Leave a comment down below. All right, so we're also going to get into the smear campaign that, according to this court doc, Justin had hired some social media people to create a smear campaign against Blake. Hailey Bieber somehow got dragged into this, and some people, Hailey Bieber is known as a mean girl. There's just been multiple articles written about her being a mean girl. And so there are text messages in this lawsuit that Blake has where Justin sent them a screenshot of an article written about Hailey Bieber. And the article is titled Hailey Bieber's History of Bullying Women, Not Just Selena Gomez, Throughout the Years. So basically what happened is Justin sent his team the article. His team had admitted, oh, we were actually considering this. And so basically both of them, you know, him and his team, they decided that they were going to do something similar and put out news articles that were negative about Blake. And so this lawsuit continues to make me see the industry as just having some evil characters in it. People who are just so evil, who have high connections, who are capable of creating false narratives to sway the public opinion. I do remember seeing negative articles written about Blake and believing that some of these things were true about her. I mean, considering the interview we saw with her with Flaw that I posted earlier, it makes me question so many things that I've read about celebrities in the past. It makes me think that you need to take everything with a grain of salt. You can't take things literally. But I'm curious to know what you guys think about this entire situation. Do you guys believe that this is Blake just having a crappy personality? Or do you guys think indeed this was a smear campaign to tarnish her image? But I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for watching.